heat waves, cyclones are becoming more and more intensive, and then their adverse effect in terms of hitting our coastline. In all these scenarios, the geospatial data is playing a very important role. Here I show you large amount of activities are being done to understand the response of the Himalayan glaciers for the changing climatic systems. And here you see is what we call as the time-lapse technology, that how Gangotri glacier is receding, and we have put now almost 20 years data into 20 seconds, kind of a thing, and then you can see that the glacial retreat of this very important glacier from where the river Ganga originates. How much retreat has happened, what are going to be its adverse effects. All these things can be modeled very easily, including some of the recent events. In 2016, we have a very huge landslide in this region, and large amount of sediments are also there in the mouth of Gomukh, and how it is going to affect the riverine flow at where the Ganga itself originates. Some of this type of work is being done at the south or at the mouth of these glaciers. At many places, especially in the central Himalayas, these glacial lakes are rapidly expanding. So again, I am showing you some of these time lapses where you can quickly visualize that how these glacial lakes are expanding, and some of these glacial lakes, they become basically very vulnerable, for the flash flooding. If there is large amount of rainfall happens in these catchments, you all can remember the events of Kedarnath. So there are many vulnerable lakes we are keeping very strong visual, especially in the states of Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, now with the help of geospatial technology. Disaster support is another very important area where NRSC is playing role in terms of different phases of the disasters, especially the response phase where we provide the near real time imaging and basically information to the planners, especially in the case of flooding, in case of landslides, as well as in case of the forest fires. Of course, in the mitigation phase also, large amount of flood hazard atlases has been created for different states, and these data sets are very, very useful in terms of assessing the flood hazard potential and then planning purposes for any new infrastructure planning as well as for housing purposes. Early warning system, is very important. You have to develop early warning systems so that you can save valuable human life as well as properties. Especially in the case of landslides, we are using now newer technologies like synthetic aperture radar-based interferometric techniques to develop the kinematic-based models for the areas where large amount of subsidences are taking place. Then, of course, forest fire is a very important thing, or very harmful thing. We are into the forest fire season right now. We are providing, the live forest fire support to the Forest Survey of India. Then recently we developed a app also, which basically provides you almost real-time information about the forest fire locations, and through a centralized dashboard, decision makers in forestry sector can mobilize their resources, and then forest fire management can become very effective. All of you are sitting in Delhi here today. Air quality becomes very bad scenario, especially in September, October, November months. We are keeping a strong whistle using space technology data. You can see here some of the biomass burning events now continuously being monitored in the northern states of Haryana, Punjab, and then of course western parts of Uttar Pradesh also. And we also monitor that how this plume of smoke basically gets dispersed into the North Indian region. And this is basically kind of the information we generate on the biomass burning events on a regular basis, and this is being shared by various authorities. And this is how the entire episodes plays out, that around 10th of October, this fire counts of the biomass burning events starts, and by the second week of November it peaks up, and then of course as the crop harvesting process goes on, it also dies off. So all this science-driven data is now being provided. We have now National Air Quality Commission for NCR region. They are using these data sets in terms of keeping an eye on the sources of pollution. Energy needs are also very important, and geospatial energy maps have been developed at our Space Application Center and with other institutions also. So these energy maps, basically coming from different energy sectors, are also very useful for planning purposes. Renewable energy, especially in terms of mapping the solar energy potentials, a solar potential energy app is also developed. My colleague from SAC will be talking more about it. We are doing a comprehensive work on in Ladakh, As far as digital identity in terms of Aadhaar is concerned, large amount of work now NRSC is going to take up with DAI, where we are going to geotag all Aadhaar locations. We are going to do the gap area analysis, and then of course going to link it with the bank locations as well as the post office locations, so that the entire activity of Aadhaar can be there on the geospatial platform, and definitely it is going to be very important in terms of driving the economics in the rural regions of the country. Most of these services are now being provided through Bhuvan Your portal. I will not go into details of it, you can go through it. We are also going to now enable a mechanism where many of you will be able to download this data, because the new geospatial policy is allowing us that all the data which is created by the user-funded project should be available to the user community. So under that, we are going to open up very shortly, more than 30 or 40 products which can be utilized by various entities involved in the geospatial domain. I will like to close by informing you all that recently in the month of February, India launched its recent, the most latest synthetic aperture radar mission. It's called RISAT-1A. It's a C-band, day and night imaging system in different imaging capability modes. And this data is now going to be made available to the user community from Bhumidhi portal of NRSC. And currently we are in the in-orbit testing phase, but very soon this data will be available. High quality SAR data is available now from RISAT. Our next forthcoming satellite is going to be OceanSat-3, which will cater to what we call as the blue economy development. India has more than 7,500 kilometer coastline. So the data provided by OceanSat-3 on the ocean color, sea surface temperature, ocean winds are going to be very useful for developing many of the marine spatial planning projects, as well as harnessing the blue economy in a very sustainable manner. What is on horizon? We have this new geospatial policy guidelines, through which a lot of data which is there with the government agencies like NRSC is going to get available to many of you. We are also going to open up the space for the private sector participation. A lot of new startups through our in-space mechanism are now approaching ISRO, so that knowledge transfer and the handholding can be done. And of course, we are also making inroads into high resolution imaging, as well as UAV-based remote sensing and data analytics, especially in terms of photogrammetry products from UAV. It's a very specialized field. And of course, the high throughput communication satellites are also going to come up in a very strong way. So all these activities which are going to come up in the near future from the space as well as from the UAV platform, I'm sure that they are definitely going to be very important in terms of making our dream true as becoming the one of the leading economies in the world. I will not put the number on that right now, because those numbers can be very dicey. But definitely, there is a bright future for geospatial technology, and in my personal view, I think we will see, the emergence of geospatial technology as used for economic development, the way we had the IT revolution long back in this country. So next 1 or 2 decades are going to be the decades for geospatial technology in this country. Thank you very much.